I'm here to tell you that WWE should be a live service, free-to-play title.
Wait a minute. Is this really what players want for their wrestling game? Could WWE 2K Live be in our future? We all know WWE 2K24 gave us so much faction microtransactions in the later half of the game's life cycle, and players have rejected this feature every step of the way.
I'm here to tell you right now, we don't care.
Let me tell you
We don't care.
Before we can answer that, why is this even a topic amongst players and fans? One big reason it's coming up is the fact that WWE games are largely outdated by the time the new game is released every year.
What?
Because the WWE 2K games are annualized, they're under a very tight time frame for getting them launched. And they got less than a year to pump out a new game with new features and updates every single year. Too often, the player feedback of WWE 2K games is the next game has removed features, or didn't add any new match types, didn't add any new modes, or it's a glorified roster update. And I agree.
Tell them what it is.
I personally feel like it needs to do way more for players to keep things fresh, and I think the current model of what they do for Season Pass and DLC is an outdated model. I want it to be a fresh, innovative game. It pushes the boundaries, keeps things up to date, modern, daily roster updates, attires to download that are from WWE officially.
Give me what I want!
New arenas patched in and new match types added to the game during the course of the game's lifespan. But they don't. The annualized approach to a series like WWE 2K is the biggest reason why we don't see the series making leaps forward. It's why this live service idea has come up for players. A live service game like Warzone or Fortnite work extremely well, but that's because the game is free and you can purchase all the content you want after. This results in players spending way above $70 for a live service game than if it's a regular retail copy.
That's nasty!
But wrestling games are different. Within the world of wrestling, wrestlers are hired, wrestlers are fired, they're let go, their contracts expire. We have legends that make returns. We have legends that don't associate with WWE the next year. One thing Greg Miller talked about in his video that I really think is exciting, and I love the idea, it's about having WWE and 2K work more closely in sync together about what is the upcoming storylines, what's going on with WWE's product, so 2K can better prepare to do content drops for new attires, new arenas, returns, debuts, and more of that content to come out. I think that this is a great idea to keep the game updated almost in real time, and being able to turn on Raw and see someone new debut and be able to buy them from the shop the next day would be so cool. But I think it's way too complicated. One way where I see an issue with this approach is, what if WWE just changes their mind? It's a shocking idea, we've never seen it before. But what if WWE doesn't debut that wrestler as planned on that date at that premium live event? What if a returned superstar like Randy Orton is gonna come back at maybe Survivor Series, and Randy has a whole new Titantron and a whole new look and attire and everything is new? And what if WWE decides to not bring back Orton after all? 2K is then put in a position where they need to shuffle things around, put things on hold. They can't market it, they can't advertise it, they can't do any of those things. And then what are they left with releasing at that time? The other thing it does, it can just set fan expectations way too high. If this idea were to go through, fans would see a new NXT star debut, a legend return, and we would immediately assume that we're gonna get it in the game. What if we don't? What if 2K just doesn't pull the trigger on it? What if WWE changes their mind?
Time to shake things up around here.
I think that there's a lot of variables, and while I love the idea, I think that it gets to be too complex and there's too many variables in between that can impact it. Or what if 2K can't follow through with this every single time when there's a new debut or superstar gets completely new look after injury? Another thing that is brought up here, and I've brought it up on my channel, I know other creators bring this up too, players in the community, about wanting things like new attires, updated arena models patched into the game. We saw this in 22 actually, where WWE 2K was able to drop in the updated NXT arena for free with the patch update. I'd never seen such a thing, giving us Arena after the game has already come out and you already spent the money.
Stop being so pretentious, Kyle.
It was a great move. It made me hopeful that we were going to see more of this. Then I was just a big old dummy, and then I assumed too much. We never got any of that ever again. The idea of doing content drops on a weekly or monthly cycle with the premium live events to give you the updated arenas, to give you the updated shows, to give you the updated attires for different wrestlers is an awesome idea. But there's a lot of factors in here that I think can hinder it from working out. In theory, I really like the idea of turning on the game and WWE 2K has released official updated attires and new looks for wrestlers from TV even a month after it happens, and I got the option as the player to spend the money for $1, $2 if I want to get an updated Roman Reigns attire. I love that because it's my choice. If I just want to play with the base Roman Reigns that's in the game, I can totally do that. But a big question mark I have is with regards to community creations, because I know what you're saying and I say it too. So that's why we have community creation.
Huh?
Yep. So what would you do though if you play this out where WWE 2K turns into a live service model? What would you end up doing with community creations? In my eyes, it can't stay as status quo. The model that we have today in 2K23 and presumably in 24, it wouldn't be able to be this way, I don't think. I think you would have to drastically change community creations if you wanted to introduce a full live service model where updated attires were made available for purchase to players. Because otherwise, it is kind of contradictory, and it is almost just like, why would I even bother to pay for this when there are awesome creators online that will give me the updated LWO look, or they will give me an updated Bianca Belair with the exact attire? Why would I bother purchasing it just to have the attire? If you play the hand of the live service model, I think 2K would need to strip down community creations and limit it to not include anything really new and make it almost bare bones for just original creation parts only, and limit players just for that experience and not recreating new wrestlers. Do I think that that's the right idea? Nah. But I'm saying if you did the 2K live service model, I think you'd have to almost do that if you're 2K from a business side, because then people will not buy the live service updates for the attires. Because if you look at community creations today, you have a logo uploader. You're able to download amazing creations for wrestlers, arenas, championships. The creation suite, while it has its problems and limitations, it's very deep. And after a premium live event, we get amazing, accurate attires already. So the player feels, then why would I ever pay for the official one? Community creations just did it and it's fine. The only way 2K, in my opinion, could get around this with a live service model is if they're going to include full updated character models. And I'm categorizing this as personas. I'll use Dominic Mysterio as an example. In 2K23, we have Dominic Mysterio as just standard Dum before he came into Judgment Day. So it was out of date once the game came out. That's the sad part about WWE games, is that they're largely out of date as soon as they come out, because WWE is a live, ongoing, living, breathing product that has no off season, and stories are changing, characters change, sets, arenas, designs, titles, they all change just any given day. But if we take Dominic Mysterio, sure, I can go into community creations today and download an updated attire for Dominic Mysterio with Judgment Day. The pants, the shirt, looks great. If 2K were to do something like this, and like Greg Miller illustrated in his video talking about getting the latest attires, I don't think that would be enough for 2K or for players to purchase. I think what you would need to do is include the persona for a download. And what I mean is, yes, the attire, but the updated facial capture, the hair, the beard, whatever is changed for them. Also, their Titantron, their music, their entrance motion, their title motion, all of that. The entire package would need to be updated in order for it to be sold to players at a cost. Because otherwise, I'm just gonna go download Dom online, I'll just slap in an Eddie Guerrero motion, and it's good enough. On top of that, I would need 2K to update the factions themselves so that Dom was actually in the Judgment Day, so you'd get an updated Judgment Day motion, so everything would work together properly. To me, that is how you balance in one way the community creations aspect with trying to get players to purchase attires and new wrestlers or updated models in the game. But that is one of the biggest things here, is the community creations aspect. Community creations would die if this happened for just attires and arena drops every single month. I think it's counterintuitive in that respect. But as I use my Dominic Mysterio example, I would need the whole package in order to find it worth downloading and buying from a 2K shop. An updated attire would not do it. It hurts the community that you have built over so many years. It needs to be a larger incentive for me to press the buy button. With a 2K live service model, I can't see it working with just regular updates for attires. You gotta be able to buy and get the whole package. So what's the solution? One idea I have, it's a hybrid model. I don't think a full-blown live service model where you're getting minimum wrestlers, minimum match types included in a core game, where you're going to go in and have the option to purchase every wrestler you want and purchase every arena and purchase every match type you like one by one. I don't think that model is going to work. What we're talking about there is an entirely different game than what we have today. Would it work with a different gaming developer coming in that knows wrestling games, that are familiar with it? Maybe. But then if 2K is still running the simulation full $70 retail experience like we know it is today, I don't think players would want to be able to go to a live service when they just have a traditional game version available to them today. One-time purchase, and I got everything. The current 2K model will have to completely drop off, and you'd have to reset and get the consumer to rethink the entire idea of their wrestling game and what they are used to buying. And changing that habit for the market, for the consumer, is way more difficult than it seems. Look, I see the benefit of a live service model. I do. I look at Warzone, I look at Fortnite. They are wildly successful in their own rights, like it or not. But wrestling is different. A live TV product week to week that never ends. A hybrid model could be, instead of WWE 2K25, we see just WWE 2K Live. It's all the same. It's still $70 price tag from retail. And it's still the successor of 2K24. Same engine, same modes that we are used to. But what is different is in the way they approach the season pass. But the traditional DLC model that they go with, that they have gone with for so long now, I feel is outdated. To me, I would do more of a seasons approach. Seasonal drops happen either every month or every quarter with new purchasable content for the players to choose. The core game is still like we have it today, but instead of traditional 5 DLC packs coming out every single month, give us a model that combines the drops of wrestlers, arenas, moves, creation parts. Season 1, for example, you could drop a month after WrestleMania, and in the pack, you sell 3 wrestlers or 2 wrestlers like regular DLC would be, an updated version of Roman Reigns as an example with his WrestleMania gear, his face, his updates, the WrestleMania 40 official arena, a new moves pack, maybe even a new match type to go along with it. I think the standard attire update drop is not the solution, because community creations can basically do that now, like we've talked about. Where WWE 2K would get players to buy, in my opinion, if the full persona change is in there, like I've talked about. Brock Lesnar's going to make that return again at WrestleMania, and he's got a new haircut, and his entrance is updated, and his Titantron is totally different. It's a whole new model by all accounts. Same with arenas. I can go into community creations, get WrestleMania 40, but it's limited based on the creation suite. If 2K does a season drop and includes official WrestleMania 40 stadium, graphics, Titantron, arena updates, working LED banners, that could be worth it for some players, and for some players, it's not. But you might be saying, so Matt, you think that we still just go with the annualized approach, and you're just talking about beefing up DLC packs, right? Not exactly. By doing seasons, I would be extending the lifespan of the game. If 2K25 was WWE 2K Live, I would have it on a 2 to 3 year life cycle for that core game. So I would give players about 2 years worth of updates and content updates and seasonal drops over the course of 24 months before the next full-fledged game is released. And there's a couple of reasons for that. We talked about at the beginning, contracts. Wrestlers come and go. They are released. WWE does fewer releases, but you never know when it's going to happen. And if it's only in there for 2 years, then it's not that bad. And we could see more legends added in over the course of 2 years as well for additional DLC if they sign up. Feed the players new seasons regularly, and this could also mean expansion drops over the course of the 24 months. We're constantly thinking about the wrestlers just by themselves or the arenas. There's more to it. You could be dropping smaller showcases in the 24-month period. What if players want a Bray Wyatt showcase? Drop that after the first year. You could charge players $9.99 for a Bray Wyatt showcase. They have the option to buy that or not. Because if they don't feel there's value in whatever that extra showcase would be, great, the players don't have to buy it. They can stick with the core experience and just keep going that way and not spend a dime. Additionally, you could do story expansions for My Rise. Sell players 2 to 3 hour expansion pieces, expansion packs for the My Rise original story. Take your creation through a brand new story arc that's going to be involving, I don't know, DX or Evolution or something. Or just original DLC stories created by the devs, so it feels like the old days of the story designers, and you're getting this authentic experience that keeps players coming back to the game because they're getting this refresh, this cycle of new content coming in, not just attire drops. And as I mentioned, new match types, do that. Do that and do arenas and do the attires or the brand new persona updates too. But it's still the player's choice, which is the critical thing, because then the players can still go through a very well developed, very supported community creation suite, or they can go with the authentic experience and download and buy it through the 2K shop. So then to me, with a hybrid approach, you're kind of feeding all audiences. The pure casual that just pick up the retail copy of the game and they play it for a month or two, and they might jump in and do a match once in a while and they're done. Keeps the community online alive and healthy that want to be able to create their own custom creations and keep that going. That still exists. And for the hardcore that want to buy the latest attires and updated arenas and match types that are supported and get all of the content that they can for the wrestling game, those people are supported too. And meanwhile, the devs could work on producing the next big retail version 2 years later with way more updates, match types, and modes. And they can see what works with this model and what doesn't. Do players buy the My Rise expansion pack? If they dropped special guest referee as a match type that you could purchase, did they see a ton of purchases for that? It would give them more data and more insight as to what the players like and don't like. This gives players more choice, more content, and a longer shelf life for the game, and more time for the devs to work on the next big title. Can a live service model work though? To me, not anytime soon. Things would have to drastically change with the series to pull off what Greg Miller is suggesting. And what I'm suggesting, that's probably not the best solution either. I think what WWE fans and wrestling fans and players can agree on, something big needs to change for the future of the franchise.